This is Tecker 901, episode 63, Google Reader. I'm Michael Plasmeier.
And I'm Reed Dame.
And today we're going to talk about Google Reader.
Google Reader is an online RSS feed reader from Google, and it's completely in the browser. There's no software to download.
Right. So it's an RSS feed reader, and we talked about RSS feeds before, and we mentioned Google Reader at that time, but Google Reader has changed a lot since then, and also we're going to go more in depth about Google Reader. So I guess first a quick overview of RSS feeds. RSS feeds are a way of getting syndicated content from other sites like blogs or from news sites. So for instance, the New York Times and basically every online news site has an RSS feed. If you look in your browser, we're using Firefox, but Internet Explorer 7 is similar. You'll see an orange icon up here. It looks kind of like a circle with two sort of broadcasting things coming off. So we click on that, and then it brings us to the feed in Firefox.
And right here, Firefox will give you options of what you want to subscribe. If you go down here, subscribe to this feed using Google, live bookmarks, and also if you have other RSS reader applications installed, it will show them on this menu.
Right. So we're going to select the Google option. I just want to point out that this will give you a preview of the feeds. Some feeds are different. For instance, the New York Times only gives you the first sentence of each article. So in your feed reader, you'll only be able to see the first sentence of each article, and then you'll have to click onto the title to see the entire article. Other sites give the full content of the article in the feed, so you can actually read all of it in your feed reader.
Usually when sites only provide a small amount, that's because they want you to click through and get advertising revenue by visiting their website.
Right, they still want you to visit their site. So that's New York Times, and then, as we said, you pick subscribe to this feed using Google, and then subscribe now. We've already have a Google account. That's if you have Gmail or any of the other Google services, you have a Google account, so we sign in with that. I already use Google Reader, so it's going to bring that up. I have lots of feeds in Google Reader. There are different ways of using it. You can use it, I use it as sort of like a river of news, so I just have a bunch of news sources in there, and whenever I want to hear what's going on in the world, I'll just open it up and start scrolling through, and it'll just show me, all the latest feeds from everywhere that I've gone. But then you can also open up a list of all the feeds you're subscribed to and only see the posts from each particular feed. So once you've clicked add to Google, you can either choose to add it to the Google homepage or add it to the Google Reader. We're going to add it to the Google Reader. So if you click on that, it'll just bring up the Google Reader with this particular feed. As I said, I'm already a Google Reader subscriber, so if not, you'd sign up for this. And then you can see the feed here. This is a very small resolution desktop. We try and make it full screen to add more space here. But on computers, that aren't hooked up to the TV, you'll have more space for content. As you see here is the New York Times feed. Each one of these boxes is an item, and as we said, New York Times only a sentence from each article. If I wanted to read more, I could click on a headline, and then it'll open up the New York Times' website for that particular content.
So this is the view you'll see when you first subscribe to a feed using Google Reader. You can see the most recent news here. You can see it has the time for you, the title, a short description, and as we said, some blogs will give you the full text of the article with pictures and videos, but the New York Times, they want you to click through and visit their website.
Right, so we had to click on the headline to actually open up the article. Alright, so now we can read that article. If we go back to Google Reader, we see here new items or all items. You can choose whether you want it to show just items that you have not yet read or items that you, or all the items on a particular feed.
And it'll automatically mark items as read once you stay on them for a few seconds.
Right.
So it registers that I'm reading this. And it goes down to 5 from 6.
Right. So it keeps track of what you've read and not read, so you won't see a story twice if you have it set to only show new items. Alright, the things down here, you can add stars for specific items. You can share it with your friends if they happen to be also Google Products users, email it to someone, or add tags. I don't really get into that too much.
Yeah, I mostly just use the feature where it marks it as read and it doesn't show you that story. I don't really do sharing, share with note, email.
Right. Yeah. All right. So there's actually a sidebar here that I've actually collapsed. And if we open that up, we can go to my home page, and on my home page it'll actually show me what certain posts I haven't read yet on some of my new blogs. It'll recommend some blogs that I may want to read. That's all very interesting. But here's what I really go to is the all items, and this is talking about with this river of news. It's basically combined all the stories. Like here's a New York Times story. The next one is a crunch skier story. And you see in this article they've provided a picture. If we keep scrolling, and the full content for this article. Another crunch gear article with a picture, and if you just go through it, and it has a bunch of blog entries from all the news sites that I follow. In this particular instance, here's one from a blog that I read. So it's basically, instead of having to go check each one of these sites, you subscribe to their feed in Google Reader, and they'll tell you what's new and what's interesting. And if you find it interesting, you can click or either read the full content or click on the headline to read the article.
In addition, on the side, you have starred items.
Right.
Which Plas has.
Right, we talked about the adding a star, so that basically puts it in the starred items category. And then you can find it later. Trends, I guess we're going to show that next. Yeah.
Yeah, trends is something I really like about Google Reader, which other RSS readers don't really have. It'll give you graphs and statistics based on most frequently updated blogs, most obscure, inactive, most read, starred, and all these things that help you really get down to what kind of blogs you like.
Right. Not totally useful, but you can see I've subscribed to 172 subscriptions. What days of the week I read the most? I guess Monday I read the most blog entries. I guess because I'm most bored on Monday or something. It's just something fun to look at. But then down here, it actually is bigger on other monitors. You can see all of the blogs I'm subscribed to if you just scroll through them. And if you click on a specific one, you can actually open up all of the entries in this blog. So, for instance, the broadcast law blog, and then I go all items, I can see everything for this particular blog. So, if we go back to all items, it's that river of news, or I can go on a specific blog and just look at the entries new for that particular blog. So why would you want to use Google Reader instead of other RSS reader?
I think Google Reader is good because it automatically marks stories as read online, whereas if you're someone like me who has lots of computers that they read blogs on, you're going to want to be able to not read the same story twice, and Google Reader does that for you.
Right, and as we talked about in our previous episode, cloud computing, this is online. You can access it anywhere. If a story is marked read on one computer, it's marked read on another computer. And also they have a really great mobile device support. So if you have a BlackBerry or an iPhone, they have really good applications for mobile. Google Reader is basically the RSS reader. Like there were competitors initially, but it seems like everyone is moving more and more towards Google Reader. There are desktop readers you can install on a computer, but really this is a great place for cloud computing at work because it's available online. It supports Google Gears, so you can, if you click on the Google Gears button, it's not installed on this particular computer, but if you install the Google Gears application and then before you go offline, click on the button, it'll take about a minute, download 1,000 items for you, then you can go offline. You won't have any of the pictures and you can't open, the short text to read the full article. But, you read it, it'll remember what you've read, and when you come back online, fully synchronized, you read these, 20 articles, they'll be marked as read when you come back online. So give Google Reader a try, and if you like RSS feeds, this is basically the way to go. And RSS feeds in general are great to stay up on news from from a bunch of news organizations, so you can find the best in news on not only mainstream news sites like MSNBC or New York Times or the Washington Post or something like that, but also blogs. Every blog has an RSS feed. So basically, I have it set up. I have 172 blog entries, and they're just all in this one newsreader where I can just read everything from 172 sites in the order that it was published. So that's really handy for me. I'm Michael Plasmeier.
I'm Reed Dame.
Enjoy Google Reader. To watch this episode again or to watch any of our prior episodes, you can visit our website, 911.tecker.net, T-E-C-K-E-R. And on the website we have our prior episodes, as well as you can view them directly on the website, or you can download them in WMV for Windows, iPod or QuickTime format for your iPod, or if you have iTunes installed, an MP3 audio-only version of the show, and a WMV HD version of the show, which you can download via BitTorrent that looks really, really clear and in pristine HD quality. And instructions for downloading via BitTorrent are also on the site. On the right-hand side, we have more information about us and about each of the members of the show, as well as quick links to all of our prior episodes and links to the RSS feeds for each of the formats that we release the show in, and links to subscribe to the show in iTunes if you have an iPod, an Apple TV, an iPhone, any Apple device. You can click on that link in either video or audio format. You can also in iTunes search for Tecker, T-E-C-K-E-R, in the iTunes store, and then you can find our podcast that you can subscribe to free. Also, if you do not have an iPod, if you have like a generic MP3 player, then you can use you can still listen to our show if on our website you subscribe to this MP3 audio version in a feed catcher, in a podcatcher like Juice. You can search for Juice on Google, download that program, and then it'll load the shows automatically onto your generic MP3 playing device. If you have any questions about the show or about technology, you can send us an email at 911@tecker.net, or you can leave us a voicemail at 610-572-2847. Thank you so much for watching Tecker 911.